All right, we are going to talk about value. And when we talk about value in art, very often what we mean is shading with some sort of art supply. In drawing one, we're going to be shading with a regular graphite pencil. Now, graphite pencils, as you can see, come in all different formats, right? So I have kind of a variety of different sorts of pencils here on my studio table right now. And we can talk about the different types of pencils and the different ways that they're labeled, and talk about just graphite in general. So the first thing is that pencils typically are labeled if we look at them. So this one is a Ticonderoga, which is a regular, it's a regular school pencil. This one is just labeled here as soft. So that one would be, like I said, a regular school pencil. I have this one here, which is just a mechanical pencil. A lot of times art teachers don't like you to use mechanical pencil because they think it doesn't work as well as regular graphite, and that's not exactly true. And here we would have what's just like a regular like yellow school pencil. So you can see this one says HB number 2. So this is, you know, like when you take a test or something, they say number 2 pencil. And what they mean is an HB pencil. An HB pencil is the same as a number 2 pencil, and that is just a regular pencil. Okay? So pencils are labeled for 2 categories. So our regular number 2 pencil is equal to an HB pencil, and we can see that here on this regular yellow pencil. A mechanical pencil will be the same as that pencil, as will a drawing pencil. So I have a variety of drawing pencils here on my table, and you can see this one is also labeled HB. So all of these pencils would be basically the equivalent of each other. They're going to be the same as each other. And when we talk about pencils, we have to talk about why they're labeled this way. So they're labeled for 2 characteristics, both of which are desirable in a pencil. The H is labeled for hardness, okay? And hardness has to do with the amount of filler in the pencil itself. The filler is usually clay or wax, some form of binder which holds the graphite together. The B stands for graphite. A lot of times we say pencil lead, but pencil isn't lead, it's graphite. And so the B stands for graphite. So a number 2 pencil is the perfect balance between hard and black. The black comes to us from the graphite. It's what makes the mark on the paper. And the hardness from the binder is what keeps the pencil sharp for longer, okay? So out of a number 2 pencil, we get a nice mark and it stays sharp for a reasonably long amount of time, all right? Now, different brands of pencil will write a little differently. So this is also an HB pencil. I'm not gonna change anything about the way I'm writing with this HB pencil, but you can maybe see it's got a little narrower lead. You know, it's kind of got a skinnier point because of the mechanical. But in actuality, this pencil would shade or add value to my paper very similarly to this pencil, although I can feel that this one is scratchier, which means that it has a little bit different binder in it than this one. This is a softer pencil to write with. So we can also look at this. It's a specialty drawing pencil. Maybe you guys have sets of these pencils or have seen sets of these pencils, and they come labeled all different ways. So you can see I have an HB, I have a 2H, this one here is a 4B, another 4B of a different brand. This one is a 9B. This is a 6B. And this one is just labeled medium. Okay. So we're not really sure where that one falls on the pencil spectrum. But I can take this HB drawing pencil that came in a set with other drawing pencils, and I can write that down here. And again, I'm not pressing any harder or making any different marks that I am with any of the other pencils, but you can see I have 3 different levels of color. Now, pencils in these drawing pencil sets come so that they go from HB to regular H to 1H. I happen to have sitting here a 2H pencil, and I'm not pressing any lighter with this pencil than I did with my regular HB pencil, but you can see that this pencil is distinctly lighter than the other pencil that I had. So if I shade a little bit with this pencil, again using the exact same pressure as I did over here, it's a lighter gray. It has less graphite and more binder or filler in it, and so it will make a lighter mark automatically and stay sharp quite a bit longer than a regular HB pencil. Now, a disadvantage for these sorts of pencils when we're making a drawing is that they can be kind of scratchy. They don't shade particularly well. But these go all the way, we could have 2H, 3H, et cetera, all the way to 9H. So that's the maximum hardness for a pencil. A 9H pencil would barely make a mark on my paper. It's mostly binder, has almost no graphite at all. And a lot of times I've run into artists before that like to make their initial contour line drawings with an H pencil because it is lighter. It's easier to get to disappear into your shading, because that's a big part of learning to shade with a pencil is we have to get rid of those contour lines. However, I've discovered that these pencils, because they tend to be scratchy, will dent the paper. So if you're not super careful about how you use them, so if I barely touch the paper with this, you can see that you can barely see a line, which would be easy to erase. But these lines here that I want to make a little darker so I can see them will actually emboss or indent the paper, which means when I shade over the top of them, they're never going to go away. I'll always see them. So I hate H pencils and will rarely use them. So we won't get one of those. The B pencils are much more useful and interesting because they make darker and darker marks. So I'm going to get my HB or number 2 pencils out of the way. And we can see, let's see, I have a 4B. So these come labeled the exact same way as the H pencils. You can get just a B, you can get a 2B, you can get a 3B, you can get a 4B, which is what this pencil is, 4B. Okay, so this is 4B. You'll maybe notice that it is making a little darker mark than the pencil that I had before. I'm going to try this different brand. I didn't realize that pencils had brand capability until recently. This is actually one of my favorite brands of pencil. It's called a Staedtler Mars Lumograph. I think they are softer than most regular pencils, and you can see a tiny bit blacker than this other brand of pencil. So those are both 4B. We can get 5B, which I don't have. This is my personal favorite number of pencil, and it is a 6B. Oops, 6B, not 65. And it hasn't been sharpened in a while, so you can see it's kind of chunky in terms of its writing quality, but you can also see that the lead itself, or the graphite, we call it lead, but it's graphite, right? You can see that it's just whiter. It's a bigger pencil on the inside than the 4B pencil. It's also softer. It makes a darker mark. We can get pencils all the way up to 9B. So this is a Create a Color monolith. It's a woodless graphite pencil, so there is no wood. This is all just graphite. And this is a 9B pencil. Again, I'm not pressing harder. It's the exact same pressure. I'm just using my regular handwriting all the way across as I'm working here. Sorry, I bumped my tripod. And you can see how much distinctly darker that 9B is from any of the other pencils, okay? So the advantages to working with a B pencil over an H pencil or just even a number 2 pencil to make artwork are that it blends easier. So a 4B pencil is going to get darker, easier without putting a lot of pressure on the piece of paper. You guys have maybe all seen when you do a pencil drawing, like if you push down too hard, too fast, it gets really shiny. So you can see that even in the light here in my studio, that this is me pressing really hard and going really fast with the pencil. This activates through friction. It activates that binder that's in my pencil and kind of brings up the wax over the graphite. Graphite is also slightly metallic, and so it kind of burnishes the graphite down onto the paper and gives us that shiny effect. If we want to achieve a nice dark with the graphite, the best way to do that, you can see that I'm getting close to that level of darkness here through soft layers, and you'll notice that it is not as shiny as when you press really hard really fast. Sometimes drawing pencils are like this one and they just say medium. Let's see if we can guess. Medium to me feels very much so, feels very similar to just a regular HB pencil. Okay, so this to me feels like an HB pencil. So sometimes you can kind of get a feel for what types of pencil you have after you kind of learn that sort of capability. In drawing 1, we are going to use a 4B pencil. So I'm going to give you a 4B pencil and something called a kneadable eraser. Okay, a kneadable eraser is a super useful drawing tool in that it's flexible and changes shape and lifts just part of the graphite instead of all of the graphite. More on that when we talk about value scale and forms.